Thank you to those who have joined us, who stayed with us on the platform for the 15th meeting of the Conference of the Arab World, the Arabic Institute. Thank you for being here. And as you know, this gathered leaders, key leaders from the Gong, from the Maghreb and the Levant, to talk about the state and also the success stories. And they shared with us all the success stories, and I'm sure you enjoyed very much this. People who are ambassadors for the UN as a General Secretary of the World Conference for Women. General of the UN Women's Global Forum and Secretary General of Forum Génération, Egalité. I'm not sure, say, the delegate, if you can hear me. Hear us? Or, can you hear me okay? Says the delegate. Well, she's saying that I can't hear what you are saying. What we're going to do, I'm going to type in the chat. We try and solve this technical issue. We're hoping to talk about the issue. And maybe ask you what you think about the event today. And see what you'd like to tell women, what they think, and who are entrepreneurs, and how they have to face leadership issues.
Très importante, ça fait.
So now we're also going to talk about the support for their career evolution. Is that better, Delphine? So first of all, I would like to thank the Arab World Institute. Thank you very much for inviting me for this closing part of this meeting. It's true that we've been discussing here the role of women for a while, including women, of course. And in the world, it's true that this meeting was scheduled last year. We had to reorganize it this year online, and the forum Generation Equality will also take place online in 3 months in Paris. So let me congratulate you for really today. I've heard a lot of good practices. We talk a lot about empowerment and leadership. And I think these are two very important topics as they were selected by the United Nations, by the Commission on the Women's Condition. This is an event that takes place in March every year in New York, gathering all states in the world. And these two topics have been widely discussed. So what could I say here to all the women listening to us, but also men? All the entrepreneurs and talking about empowerment. So I think to conclude today, I think we can say that a lot of progress has been made, but there's still room for improvement. So the World Economic Forum of Davos thinks that it will need more than 130 years to reach full gender equality. So no country today has reached here the full gender equality. So it is, of course, in the political sphere, in the economy sphere. It's also the fight against sexual violence, reproductive rights. So I believe that really this forum, Generation Equality, is aligned here with the purpose of this meeting. It is an international forum organized by UN Women, organized by Mexico and France this year. This is a shared presidency. And we gather all states and civil societies, entrepreneurs, companies, ONGs, from everywhere in the world. So the purpose of this forum, Generation Equality, is dual. First, like your meetings here, to also look at the progress achieved over the last 25 years at the international level. So there hasn't been any international UN conference for 25 years on women. The last one was in Beijing in 1995, sorry. So we want to look at the outcomes, at the progress made, but also at the opportunities for the future, and restart a new dynamic for the future. So today, to reach this full gender equality, we really need, and we have different treaties or international conventions here to encourage their participation in business, in politics. However, they're not necessarily implemented completely and fully. Therefore, we'd like to gather all the different stakeholders, not only governments, even if, of course, institutions are important, not only the United Nations, but also civil society, organizations, companies, private sector, parliaments, unions, so that together they can work here on a program with the concrete actions. So what will be presented in Paris at the end of June, it's concrete actions by topics, women and climate, women and technology, innovation, fight against violence. It will be like a 5-year business plan, and with objectives that are quantifiable, with the reachable targets for the next 5 years in the scope of the Sustainable Development Goals. So I believe that here you're talking about the legal framework as well. The legal framework is important. So you think the states, the governments are ready to really change here to really give access to women, give access to more responsibility for women, more empowerment. So do you believe that the countries, that the companies are ready for that? So at the international level, sometimes these are not favorable to feminine women empowerment. What can we do? So I do represent the French government, but I also work for the civil society, for companies and the private sector, for all stakeholders. So we really try to work on all these different aspects together. So we have, of course, a legal framework. Many countries actually adopted changes, amendments to their legal frameworks, and most of them eliminated some discriminatory legislation. For example, forbidding access to women to access to land, or to opening a bank account, or to own a land. So, but also to create a company, to manage a company. So I think this is really the work of the United Nations, supported by all the other nations, to really eliminate these discriminatory laws that are anyway in complete violation of the international conventions, as of course this type of discrimination is prohibited in all the international conventions, and most countries in the world have changed actually and have signed all the major conventions of the United Nations. The second step is beyond here. It is also about the means that are implemented to have women concretely participating and contributing to business and politics. So having a right is one thing, but then implementing it, it's another thing. That means measures also. We're talking about quotas. I'm sure you've discussed quotas, such as quotas in the board. It's also about, gender equality in recruitment and company. It's about reporting. It's about transparency, objectives. So it's not always about sanction, but it really is about the means to achieve some results. We're also talking about the political participation of women. So if we manage to reach 40% of women in the parliament 4 years ago, that's because of quota that was actually, implemented many years ago, but that was not implemented, but that eventually was implemented. So here it's very important because here again, this is something very different. And I think there's a lot that can be done. We talk about executive committees. All the governance bodies need more representation by women. So we also need to come back on the experience and on sanctions. Unfortunately, without sanctions, the equality and gender equality takes too long, and we can't wait for 3, 4, 5 more generations. So this is really about access, the right to be a prime minister, to be CEO. So it's not a favor. It is a right to fully participate to the decision taking to all levels of the companies and the society. Thank you. Thank you very much for these messages, for your words. Thank you very much for coming here. So thank you as ambassador of the Secretary General of the UN Women's Global Forum. Thank you very much for these closing remarks here of the Arab World Business and Economic Meetings organized by the Arab World Institute. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to all the panelists today, to all the participants. Thank you for all the attendees, all those that asked questions. Stay connected to really follow all the suggestions. As you know, the debate will continue, the discussion will continue, and we all need to be ambassadors in our own way to improve gender equality in society and in business. Thank you very much, and see you all very soon. Thank you, and goodbye. Thank you for your invitation, and thank you for inviting me to close really to these closing remarks. Thank you for the invitation once again. And really at the end of this day, I would really like to invite you all to participate to our forum. So this is going to be June 30th to July the 2nd. So that is, the presidency is by the UN, co-organized by Mexico and France. It will be an online meeting, 3 days online. There's going to be a lot of online events. All the countries in the world will be involved. A lot of companies, foundations, nations, all the multilateral agencies will also be present. So it will be good to also take some concrete commitments, financial and economic. We will be there. Thank you very much and goodbye.